I'd like to thank our reader, Nancy Wirtz, as well as our CSL music team for the fabulous music that they support us with. And you might think, after me talking last week about living with an attitude of gratitude, that I wouldn't have much more to say about having a grateful heart. Oh, but you would be wrong. There is so much more. Perhaps you might think I should be talking about a loving heart, since we so often associate our hearts with love. Alas, living with a grateful heart has a powerful impact on our lives, going far beyond the gratitude list. A grateful heart is a state of being, one we consistently strive to embrace, and it impacts how we experience and respond to things that happen in our lives. And we feel like things are going as we hoped. Living with a grateful heart is easy. And when they're not going as we hoped, living with a grateful heart helps. So let me give you the question for the week. What is the one choice you might make today to embrace the present moment as sacred, to adjust your perspective and give others the benefit of the doubt, and to develop habits which increase your ability to live with a grateful heart? One more time. What is the one choice you might make today to embrace the present moment as sacred, to adjust your perspective and give others the benefit of the doubt, and to develop habits which increase your ability to live with a grateful heart? Living with a grateful heart means we start by recognizing the present moment as sacred. Thich Nhat Hanh, the beloved Vietnamese Zen master, said this: "The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it." This perspective is so beautifully simple. Joy, contentment, happiness, freedom, and peace are not things we need to chase. They're already here, woven into our lives. And when we live with a grateful heart, we awaken to that truth, discovering happiness in the everyday things that we might otherwise overlook. A shared meal, the warmth of sunshine, a kind word, someone that recognizes and appreciates us. We realize that the real treasures in life are not rare. Rather, they're present and accessible in each and every moment if we just open ourselves to them. The gratitude we cultivate by living with a grateful heart has a way of transforming our whole outlook. It grounds us. It helps us to appreciate life without feeling the need to constantly achieve or acquire or have outcomes go our way. This approach to life was captured by an ancient Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu, who said this: "Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you." Let me repeat that last line. Rejoice in the way things are. I never promised this message would be easy, and we're being called to rejoice in all that is, the weather, the election results, and anything else that we might be creating a sense of fear around within us. Lao Tzu points to a truth that's simple and profound, that when we stop focusing on what we think we lack or how things should be and start appreciating what we already have, our lives feel abundant. And we realize we already possess everything we need to be happy. Living with a grateful heart isn't about ignoring our desires or our ambitions. It is about creating a foundation of contentment that allows us to move through life with a sense of wholeness and peace. A peace that does not depend on external circumstances. Actually, living with a grateful heart is an act of mindfulness. It means we become fully aware of each moment, choosing to savor life rather than rush through it. When we live with a grateful heart, we slow down enough to truly notice all the gifts that surround us. We realize that life is filled with little miracles, the blooming of flowers, the laughter of loved ones or of children, the comfort of a quiet moment. And in recognizing these simple beauties, we're reminded of the divine that permeates all things. Meister Eckhart, the German mystic, once said, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." Living with a grateful heart means gratitude becomes our prayer. And it's a way of seeing and honoring life itself as sacred. Maya Angelou said, "Let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer." She invites us to make gratitude a daily practice, a regular part of our spiritual lives. When we turn to gratitude at the end of the day, we can release worries and frustrations and hurts that we might have carried throughout the day. Gratitude becomes a way to close out our day with peace and to invite healing into our hearts for all those things that we didn't want to have happen. Do you ever feel like your heart can't be grateful because you're too burdened with problems? I do not wish to diminish your problems, and I do want to say that we can learn to practice to prioritize our obstacles in life. When we're experiencing adversity, it's easy to become distracted with minor setbacks and disappointments, and they quickly might seem to add up and become what I call whelming. So what can we do? We can remember to differentiate between the minor inconveniences and the real obstacles that are major. For example, having a car problem that requires you to take the bus to work is really only a minor inconvenience. On the other hand, losing your job and not having the money to pay your car note is probably a major inconvenience and can become a major obstacle in your life. When we can prioritize our adversities, we can determine what's most pressing and develop an effective plan of attack. In This Thing Called You, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "You take it into the silence of your consciousness. Instead of thinking of the problem, think of the answer. God does not have problems. Therefore, the divine mind is the answer to every human problem." Let me repeat that. The divine mind is the answer to every human problem. Problems are not solved by worry. They're solved by bringing them under the control of principles. The problem is solved as the principle flows through it to the correct answer. So, allow your adversities to be dissolved by giving it over to the divine mind, where the answer exists to every human problem. Another perspective adjustment is to accept that setbacks and periods of adversity happen to everybody. Challenges are just a normal part of life when we're in these rent-a-bodies. So staying in the doldrums over them keeps you stuck and perhaps in victimhood or in negative thinking. Michael Jordan once said, "Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it." And just to clarify, accepting adversity and not dwelling on it does not mean that you don't feel sad or frustrated about things at times. I actually recommend when you're feeling sad and frustrated to feel those emotions fully. Perhaps set a time limit, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 3 days, maybe a month. But feel your pain on the frustration, and then when the time is up, give your attention to doing something positive, volunteering somewhere, or noticing all that you have for which to be grateful. I know absolutely how capable and resilient you are. How do I know? Well, we've all survived hardships. Everybody's had hardships at some point in their life. And one way or another, we found the strength to overcome them, which is why we're still here. So whatever hardship happened to be in the past, it's time you believe in yourself and know you are capable of overcoming any setback that might be happening at the moment. There have been times in my life when I've been so wrapped up in what was happening and making up my own story about it, about how unfair it was, that I lost sight of living with a grateful heart. And I also lost sight of the truth that God's in it somewhere. I think that helped me most in those situations. And what else helped me was learning to give others the benefit of the doubt. So in all situations, embrace the benefit of the doubt. In the poem that we read today, you heard, "Gratitude can turn disconnected situations into important and beneficial lessons." When we're willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, we can turn those disconnected situations into lessons. And we all still have lessons to learn, or we wouldn't still be living on this planet. Imagine if you were to get upset when someone cut you off in traffic and notice that they were just rushing by, and then later you found out that they were rushing their child to the hospital. Imagine if you were willing to recognize that we don't know what's created the behavior that others are experiencing, and that behavior that doesn't fit into what our expectations are of what polite behavior should be. This is what giving others the benefit of the doubt is all about. Recognizing, hey, there possibly could be a good reason for their behavior. Maybe it's an emergency. Maybe it's just a past hurt. Maybe it's something else. Just consider that. The last thing I want to mention is that a grateful heart teaches us to embrace simplicity, to find joy in what is rather than in what could be. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like we're always needing to be doing more or achieving more. But a grateful heart reminds us to slow down, to savor life, to be present with what is right in front of us, not with what is happening tomorrow, in January, or years down the road. Brother David Stintlost, a Benedictine monk known for his teachings on gratitude, wrote this: "Gratefulness is the key to a happy life that we hold in our hands. Because if we are not grateful, then no matter how much we have, we will not be happy, because we will always want to have something else or something more." Brother David's insight helps us see that happiness is not about adding to what we already have, but it's about seeing the abundance that's already present in our life. And when we adopt this perspective, we can feel more at ease and more open and definitely more content with our lives. And to find joy in what is sometimes requires us to practice forgiveness. Often, we carry resentment or anger towards others, even towards ourselves, holding on to past hurts that weigh us down. But when we embrace gratitude, we're better able to forgive and to release those burdens and to move forward with love. A Course in Miracles has this phrase: gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. So by choosing gratitude, we create room in our hearts for love and compassion. When we let go of grievances, we open ourselves to more joy, more lightness, and we experience the freedom that comes from having a grateful heart. We also experience a sense of unity with the divine. When we appreciate the blessings in our lives, we recognize that we are supported and loved by a higher power. And this feeling of being cared for by something greater than ourselves can bring inner peace and assurance. Brother David also wrote, "The root of joy is gratefulness. It is not joy that makes us grateful. It is gratitude that makes us joyful." This quote reminds us that joy flows naturally from gratitude. When we take time to appreciate the gifts in our lives, our hearts fill up with genuine happiness. There is a sense of contentment that comes not from external circumstances, but from within. True gratitude isn't just an inner feeling. It's an action. It's a prayer. It's a way of being that radiates outwards and something that we want to share. We become instruments of kindness, of compassion, of love. And when we have a grateful heart, that gratitude spills over and it blesses others. And it has a ripple effect of inspiring them to live with grateful hearts as well. So in closing, let's just remember, living with grateful heart is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a practice that deepens with time and brings us closer to ourselves, to others, and to the divine. We see the world as a place of wonder and beauty and endless blessings. So I invite you to walk this worldly path with open, grateful hearts and discover that peace and joy and love that gratitude brings into every corner of our lives. And so in summary, how might you learn to live with a grateful heart? Well, embrace the present moment as sacred. Realize that the treasures of life are always surrounding you. And let gratitude become your prayer. Adjust your perspective and give the benefit of the doubt. Know that the divine mind has the answer to any problem, so let go of those problems and release them to God. Recognize you can't know what others are going through. That's when you give them the benefit of the doubt. And find joy and slow down. Practice forgiveness and love and know that the root of joy is gratefulness. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly embrace the present moment as sacred, adjust my perspective, and give others the benefit of the doubt, and develop habits which increase my ability to have a grateful heart. So make a conscious effort this week to live each day with a grateful heart. Adjust your perspective each day, and every event that requires it, give the person the benefit of the doubt. Know that God is in everything. Let's pray. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable and just sink into this feeling of our connection. Sink into your heart, feeling the gratitude for all that you have, for all the friends that show up to support you, for all the messages that you get, for all that is in your life, for all the beauty that you see when you take a walk or take a drive, for all that is out there. For what I know is that each of us has spent this time together for a purpose, and that each of us is indeed benefiting from expanding our grateful heart, because that uplifts the planet, and it indeed does have a domino effect. So I am grateful that you chose to spend some time with us. I am grateful for this community and for this month that we're talking about gratitude. And it's from that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing they're already done, so I can say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. I want to thank everybody that continues to support us, for the checks that continue to come in all kinds of various ways. It's helping us to stay afloat, and it certainly is appreciated, and it expands my grateful heart. Enjoy our offertory song.